I'm really excited that you're in this training. I decided to develop this training because honestly, we work with a lot of Amazon sellers that are they've done a course, they've spent their life savings, they put all this money into their Amazon business, and they really got into it not knowing what they were going to have to overcome. And so I wanted to basically help some people that maybe are not ready to do an Amazon business to kind of like push them towards something else. And then also for everyone who is serious about this and are ready to do this, my goal is that you really understand what you're getting into and that you're prepared basically for the challenges that come. Building a physical product business and selling physical products online and Amazon and other places is not easy per se. It's easier than working a terrible job that you hate, but it's definitely still work, and it requires a lot of time and energy and capital and everything else to be successful. And I think that there's a lot of people that are trying to make it out to be something different than it is. And it is an amazing thing, don't get me wrong, I love it, but it also it's a risk and it's difficult. And so I wanted to kind of make this training to let everyone know what my perspective is on this and kind of some things that you're not told on what's going on. So the first thing that I think we should just cover right off the bat that a lot of people are misleading about is the amount of money that it takes to start selling a physical product business online. Developing a physical product business, buying inventory, doing the marketing, the shipping of everything, the photography, all these things, like it's very expensive to do these things. And so a lot of people will say, well, you can start this business with $500 or $2,000 or whatever. And while that is possible, like you can start a business with that kind of money. It's funny, they'll show like this $1 million of sales on one hand, and then they'll be like, you can get started for $2,000. And it's like, these two things, they don't ever add up. Like in selling an info product or selling software or selling a service, you can invest a couple $1,000s and then you can potentially make that kind of result because you don't have inventory costs. But when you're selling a physical product, when you're selling something that actually has to be manufactured and transported and shipped and everything, the amount of capital that you have to put in is directly related to how much potential profit you can make. And so this is not the type of business where if you have a small amount of money, like a couple $1,000s or less, this is not the business for you. You need to go do something else, either work and save up money or find a way to get financing or partners or something like that. And then you can get into trying to develop your own physical product brand, or maybe do a service business or something like that. Like that's the kind of stuff that you can do with a little bit of money. But if you want to do a physical products company, you need to have cash. I recommend having at least $10,000, and that's $10,000. That's not including like hiring any consultants or doing any courses or anything like that. That's like the money that you need to invest to actually develop the product and do the marketing and everything that you need to do. Like you need close to 10,000. You can do it for less, but that kind of gives you a cushion to be safe on things. And that's going to give you a reasonable amount of return if you're successful. So number one is this costs more money than a lot of people make it out to be. That's just the way it is. And unfortunately that excludes some people that don't have as much cash. The second thing is that even if you are successful and you do everything right, it can take longer than this, but at least like 6 to 12 months just to get your money back, right? I mean, you're putting money into shipping of the inventory, into the photography, into the marketing and all that stuff. And in the beginning, your business is not going to make money. You're going to be losing money. You're going to be investing money into this business to grow it, and it's not going to be making any profits until maybe 6 to 12 months, and it'll take a while to recoup that money because in the beginning you're just pouring money into this business trying to get the momentum going. And guess what? Like every business is like that. Doesn't matter what you're selling, the chances of you like instantly being successful selling something, any type of product or service or whatever, like it's not going to happen. Like you're going to spend money, you're going to lose money until you make money. But I think that like a lot of people, they say like, I launched my product, and they show these like little ads. I see them all the time on Instagram. It's like, you know, Jane just did the course and now she made $2,000. Yeah, she made $2,000 in sales, but she had to put in $10,000, and it takes time to get that money back and start getting those positive cash flows. And you have to reinvest that cash back into your business. So if you are a cash strapped, you know, person that really doesn't have it, once again, back to point number one, like, this is not the business for you. You need to have a day job or another business on the side that's making you income, and you need to be able to invest this money into this business consistently, and then you can be successful over time. But it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take you at least 6 to 12 months probably to start breaking even, start turning a profit, and reinvest that, right? And if you want to grow, you have to keep on reinvesting this, because this business is all about turning inventory. It's about buying more and more inventory and then reinvesting that and then doing more. And the more capital you have, the more money you can make. So that's the second point. The third point is that Amazon is competitive. It's more and more competitive. You know, Amazon heavily recruits Chinese factories and merchants to sell on there. They do a good job developing products that are pretty good. They're very competitive on price. And so you need to do something with your product to where you are going to be unique, and you're going to have a unique selling proposition that's going to set you apart from the competition. And there's basically like 3 kind of things that you can do to really be unique. You can basically outprice somebody. So you can like, you know, buy the equipment or the machinery, or find a really good connection in some factory somewhere and just basically undercut stuff on price. The second one is you can outmarket somebody. You can be a really good marketer. Maybe you have, you know, influencer connections or something like that, to where you're going to be able to just get a lot of traffic for this brand that you're just such a good marketer. And then the third thing that you could do is you can develop a product that's actually unique and that's got something special about it, and you can actually get a design patent or utility patent or something like that. Or even if you're not registering patents, you're at least innovating on the product category, and you're kind of not a first mover, but you're an early mover in a trend that is you know, up and coming, that you know is going to go well. And so you're doing something innovative and a little bit unique. So those are kind of your choices. You can basically beat on price, promotion, or product, and you have to find one of those things on how you're going to be unique. The days of just like finding something on Amazon and being like, you know what, I'm going to sell a spatula, the other guys are selling a spatula, I'm going to be great, like, that's not really the way it is anymore. You have to spend a lot of energy and effort in your product development and growing that. So the fourth one is that reviews are very hard to get on Amazon. And I think that's like the biggest moat that established businesses have. And it's the reason why you have to be unique in the products that you are selling in some way, either price or, you know, features or whatever. Because the thing is that you know, if I'm the Amazon shopper and I go to Amazon and I search some keyword and there's, you know, this product with 10,000 reviews, and then here's yours with 5, like, I'm always going to buy the product that has the most reviews. And there's a lot of niches and places where there's a lot of money to be made, but the winners, the guys who are making all the money, they have so many reviews for their product that it would cost a fortune to generate that many reviews. So you have to make sure that whenever you're picking your niche, first of all, you're picking a niche that doesn't have so many reviews. You need to pick something to where you have the budget to get those reviews. On average, you're going to spend at least 3 to 5 times your product cost in the beginning to get a review. So if your product costs $10, plan on spending at least $30 to $50 in marketing and advertising to get a review on Amazon for that product. And that might even be like a low estimate. It could be more than that. And that's because you have to make a lot of sales to get a review, and getting sales when you're first getting started is expensive. So that brings me to my last point, the 5th point, which is that when you're launching an Amazon brand, you definitely need a marketing plan and budget before you even spend any money on purchasing your product. I can't tell you how many times people come to me and they say, I have this product and it's not selling well, and you know, they developed this whole thing and they never even thought about the marketing aspect of this product before they actually spent all the money on developing it and getting it ready. And honestly, that is a shame because you can spend a lot of money on inventory and testing and shipping and photography and all this stuff to kind of get the product ready for sale, and then come to find out like you never had a great way to market and sell this thing in the first place, or maybe you don't have the money to do it. A lot of people spend all their money on that early stuff and they don't have the cash. So you have to have that stuff figured out before you sell on Amazon, before you start getting the product developed and everything else. So yeah, I mean, those are the 5 things that I think that a lot of the internet gurus and marketers out there are not telling you when they're trying to sell you a course or a system or whatever on how to sell on Amazon. I'm not trying to discourage you. I'm trying to be realistic about what it takes to be successful. I think that selling physical product online is a great way to be successful. And honestly, even if you had to spend $10,000 10 times and you spent $100,000, if you got a business that made you just $100,000 a year, you know, that would more than be worth it, because in 1 year you'd make your money back, right? So, I mean, the fact is that it's definitely worth taking the chance and doing it if you are ready for the battle and the struggle that it is to build a business. It's not easy to build a business. You have to do a lot of work and you have to keep trying. Eventually, it does get easier for you. So to kind of talk about a couple of these things, if you're still here and you're still listening and you're like, you know what, I want to do this still. I understand what it takes to be successful. I know it's not going to be easy. Then I'm going to try to address some of these things that I think you need to do, which we already talked about a lot of this stuff. So how to deal with the competition. In my mind, the best way to deal with the competition is to, number one, spend a lot of time in the product research phase, really looking for products that are unique. I use keyword data to look for products that are kind of trending, where like people are basically searching for, you know, a new keyword or a phrase where I know there's demand for it, but where the products don't have a lot of reviews and stuff like that. So that way I know I can come in. So that basically helps me to find good niches that I can be in, where I can operate in and do something unique, but also where there's already demand and I don't have to deal with that review issue as much. So that's kind of, you know, how we deal with the competition and everything. Kind of to the point of how much does it actually cost us on Amazon, I kind of mentioned this earlier, but it's, you know, if you don't have $10,000 of capital, it's probably not the business for you. You could do it for 5 if you want to be like really slow getting started and really methodical, but I recommend people having $10,000. So how to actually get reviews. This is something that's really hard and you need to have a strategy for it in the beginning. We have like a lot of content and stuff on how to actually get reviews, but to be kind of like short about it, basically you're gonna have a few options. So the only way to really get reviews is to get sales. Besides the Vine program, so the Vine program is something, if you have your trademark registered in Amazon, you can get basically 30 reviews for a new product, but anything besides that, you have to get sales to get reviews. And so your options, so basically it's not like how do you get reviews, it's more like how do you get sales. And your sales need to be full price sales, where people are actually buying the product on Amazon. So you can either do that by running ads to Amazon, either Amazon sponsored product ads or Facebook ads or some other ads or whatever, or going to, you know, sites like that we operate, like Snagshout, where you basically give people a rebate to purchase your product. And so if you think about that, like when you first launch a brand on Amazon, the cost to get a sale, the average cost of sale can be 100% or more than what the product costs. So if you have a $10 product, it can cost you $10 to get a sale, right? And so that is where you have to budget that in and say, okay, well, if I can get 20% of my products, for every 5 products I sell, if I can get 1 review, and in the beginning it's going to cost me 5 sales to get me 1 review, that's where I'm coming up with that number, where it's going to cost me like 3 to 5 times my product cost to get reviews. And you really, even if you black hatted it and just paid people for reviews, if you get 100% review rate on every single review you get, Amazon is gonna flag your listing and shut it down. So you really just have to spend money, honestly, to get reviews, and that's really what it takes. You have to spend money to drive those sales, and then eventually you'll get those reviews. And then the last thing is just like dealing with kind of the finances and how much money you can actually make on Amazon, and how you know, lucrative it can be. Honestly, Amazon can be very lucrative, and it really depends on your margins and how everything goes. So for me, what I like to do is look for products that have 100% ROI. So if I put in $1,000, by the time I pay all the FBA fees and my product costs and shipping and everything, I'm gonna make $2,000 back. So I basically double my money. And we have a tool in our software, it's our FBA calculator, where you can like go onto any product and it'll kind of calculate that stuff for you. But basically, what that does is that allows me to double my money, which is great. Like that's much better than I can make in the stock market. But that gives me a cushion to where if like something goes wrong, or in the beginning when I'm sinking all this money into marketing and advertising, I can you know, make that money back later, right? So let's say that you turn your inventory every 90 days and you put $10,000 into the business, and every 90 days you turn your inventory. So the first 90 days you put $10,000 in, and then this wouldn't really happen because, like I said, it takes time to get your marketing and everything, but let's just pretend that in the first 90 days you sold all of your inventory in 90 days, and so your $10,000 became $20,000. Then in the next 90 days, you are able to flip your inventory again. So now your $20,000 becomes $40,000. And then in the next 90 days, your $40,000 becomes $80,000. And that's kind of how Amazon goes. So basically, the more money that you have and whatever your ROI is, and then how fast you can flip your inventory is basically how fast you're gonna make your money back, and then how much profit you're gonna make. Now, eventually, you're gonna max out your profit, right? So if you make $10,000 and you double it to 20, like that's one thing, but doubling $100,000 to $200,000, like your niche might not be big enough to make that many sales, right? So we have like software that kind of calculates a lot of this stuff, but that's basically the short and sweet of it and how much money you can make. So hopefully that gives you some good ideas of what it really takes to start an Amazon business, kind of the truth of it, and how to overcome some of those challenges. If you are really interested in starting your Amazon business, then we offer our full suite of software and a course on how to go through and do all of this stuff. And it's not thousands of dollars. You can do it for a much more affordable price. I highly recommend you check that out if you do want to grow a legitimate Amazon business.